Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Tuesday to you and your family. And obviously, we're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing kind of what's going to happen next. It's looking fairly good though, all things considered. Just got to keep in mind, we've got some interesting stuff coming up with FOMC tomorrow and Thursday, and that could very well shift things in different directions. So always be prepared for that. I recommend in most cases not trading into that if you have open positions, and if you do, maybe remove temporarily or adjust your stop losses accordingly, just based on the fact that there's always some obnoxious candle wicks and candlesticks on those days. I mean, to give you perspective, this is what it should look like, so where the price action shoots up and down. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's probably more so this one here. If you see just how violent it can get, the large ups and downs there, basically liquidation hunts. All right, anyways, we'll look at that and much more. Obviously, also to take a quick peek at the traditional markets, understanding where that's at. But between now and then, if you are new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. Truly do love teaching people to trade, and if you are new to the channel, of course, help me help you. Follow me on social media, get those things moving forward, so I can stay, keep you in the know. I'm going to send out Bitcoin updates, have monthly giveaways. A lot of cool things are going to be taking place here in the relative near future. That being said, though, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website. Link down below, of course. You can register for my community, university, or academy as well. And really what's cool about it, too, is that you can learn and grow as a trader. A lot of my traders are doing very, very well right now, and they're just kind of overall killing it, you could say. Some Dogecoin shorts. We've got a lot of different scenarios here, especially SAC here, hitting for another almost 100% long. So I mean, these guys and gals are doing fantastic things. So keep up the good work. Well done, Morgan. Of course, you can see here that the signal for BNB was pretty fire. It's a great observation. In fact, take a look at this here. We took 128% as a community on the BNB trade in only two days and 8 hours. Okay. Same thing with Solana too. That trade is still open, but we hit 93% also in only 2 days and 8 hours as well. So those were good signals sent on Friday with some nice weekend volatility. All right, so again, just some stuff that's kind of featured in there. Check that out in your own time. Oh, very last thing too, of course, King's Cup Global Initiative. I just got registered for this here. I'll send out the link to my community. If you're interested in joining, make sure you use the link in the description below so you can be eligible. And this is essentially just, we're in the registration period right now, but there's some amazing group stages, final stages, where you can benefit from a significant amount of very large prize pools. Okay, so awesome stuff there. Bitget is my favorite exchange. Be sure to use them. But if you use the link in the description below, you'll be eligible for all my monthly giveaways and, of course, prize pools, things that are just by default beneficial for you if you were to register through that. So check that out in your own time. So here's with Bitcoin, standard stuff, but also fairly important to recognize. So yesterday when we covered this, we could see the price action was trending down. We were kind of we were at somewhere in the range of a reset there. We had just gotten a reset after the bounce, and we got rejected up here. So what's going on right now is partially good, partially bad. And I'll explain what I mean by that here, but we can see the price action is effectively working itself into somewhat of a wedge, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and start with the macro first, just so we get big picture, because again, I get the question a lot like, hey, how do you find a good signal? How do you find a good entry on a target? Well, a lot of it boils down to understanding every single time frame and extracting just a little bit of information from each. Right? So we're basically just we're building a case as to whether or not Bitcoin should go up or down. Keep in mind, tomorrow is a very strong fundamental catalyst, and that will likely spike up or down in either direction, depending on the basis points being baked in or not. It's hard to say specifically. In fact, why don't we talk about that here just right now, and look at the traditional markets and just kind of understand here that the price action coming down the last couple of days is actually positive. Okay, I got a question recently like, hey, how's that going to affect the FOMC meeting on Wednesday and Thursday? And well, in truth, if the price goes down between now and then, that would essentially allow for the price to be baked in, as they call it. In other words, we shouldn't expect the price to go down any further if it's already going down ahead of time. What we don't want is for Bitcoin to be, parabolically increased, so to speak, super high, just say at 21,000 or higher. And then, of course, that happens, we'd see a very significant drop. Okay, so that likelihood of that is getting lower as the traditional markets go down. So to me, that's a positive sign. I like to see this. So again, it's weird to celebrate that in that regard, but it's actually a good thing. And I think overall, that filters in here as well, because we can see 3 red days from Bitcoin. We very well could see a red day tomorrow, but if we were to, it would probably be a candle wick down and then a swift recovery up. That does happen quite a lot. So bear that in mind. That's kind of where we're at there for the meeting tomorrow. Again, it's always recommended to avoid trading going into that, and just be cautious and careful and mindful that there's a lot of manipulation that occurs during that time. All right, so here's the thing with Bitcoin. Look at the standard stuff here. We can see RSI is still up over 50. That's good. As long as the price, again, doesn't come down below 19,800 or just say 20,000, I think we're in pretty good shape. Even if we come down sub 20,000, I don't think it'd be the end of the world. But again, 19,800 to 20,000 is a strong support level right now. Okay, so we got a support zone there. We can also see on the MACD that it is starting to dissipate. We're losing that momentum. So we got to be mindful of the fact that if this continues much further, just say another week or two to the downside, obviously we'll have that bearish divergence. I know it kind of seems redundant, right? The price goes down and we're going to have a confirmation of a bearish divergence, but sometimes you need to wait for confirmation. And to me, right now, there's no confirmation the price is going to want to go up from here, but I don't foresee it going tremendously lower either. Okay, so I think we're kind of in that sweet spot. That's why yesterday I mentioned that, hey, we're looking all good ahead of the FOMC meeting, and I think even if the price were to come down further, that'd be a positive sign to help us go up later. Okay, so all in all, not bad shape here. The daily looks, I would say, decent. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the moving averages here and just see where we're at with the 50. Again, they're both trending really close to 19,600, 19,800. So we got some support in that range. Of course, doesn't matter too much at this time until we get there, but generally speaking, we're above some key level supports, and that's also important. Looking at the 4 hour, let's go ahead and quickly note the RSI. We have lost this again. And what I mean by again, it's just kind of averaging itself out really close to 50. So when you see that happen, it's not like it's a definitive line in the sand. It's not like, hey, this is a strong resistance or support level. It's kind of trending above and below. And you can actually see that on the regular price action here as well with that 20,500 mark or 20,450, however you want to look at it. That is a support level. Potentially. Again, depends on how we close in the candlesticks here today, but generally speaking, that level is a point of contention, and we can see a lot of volume accumulation in that range. Okay, so in that sense, that tells me that we have some kind of support at that level. We lose that support, next key support level is 19,800 to 20,000 range. I foresee the price action this week kind of staying in the range of 20,000 to 20,500 as a rough estimate, and then a potential leg up after FOMC. Again, we never truly know until we get there, but at this point we can see that the bearish divergence is still continuing, and we haven't had that strong, specific direction setter. All right, so what we need to see here soon is for this to either come up or to go down. That'll tell us a lot about which direction we're going to continue, because right now we don't have any overextension per se, and a lot of times without overextension, you got to kind of rely on support and resistance levels. All right, so taking a look at the 1 hour, let's go ahead and just summarize here and call it a day. TD sequential is telling us that we did hit a 7, got a reset up to a 6, and we're down to a 7 again. So Bitcoin is not hitting 9s consistently. It did hit 1 previously, but generally speaking, we're hitting 5, 6s, and 7s. So it really tells us that there's a lot of buying pressure and selling pressure at this level. Okay, inevitably one side or the other is going to win. But I don't feel like we're going to see much of a victory until after the meeting occurs. Is inflation going to be large, short, fairly non-existent, whatever the case is, whatever that basis point is going to determine which direction we go. I feel if we see a 0.75, which is the kind of the standard that we've seen here so far, the price will initially dip and then increase from there. Okay. Again, that's because we're seeing that baked in price action for the last couple of days where regular markets are coming down. I think that's a positive sign. Same thing with Bitcoin too, not being extremely overextended going into those meetings. That to me is a good sign. Because last time we had the meeting, I think last month, we saw the exact same thing where it was kind of going sideways, spiked up and down, and inevitably broke to the upside. So hoping for the same thing as well, but I do not have a crystal ball, nor can I foresee the future. So your guess is as good as mine. So let's take a look at the last thing here, of course, the cloud. And, again, got to keep in mind when you have range-bound activity, the price action is working itself into a wedge, which we can kind of see here. When that occurs and you see those type of trends forming, you need to recognize that in most cases the price action is going to, or the cloud itself is going to give you some false positives. So to me, when you see that, I'm not really super trustworthy of the cloud. Just because we're below the cloud doesn't mean we're going to stay below. Hypothetically, we should, based on the descending trend that we're seeing with lower highs. and the fact that we're seeing higher lows. So lower highs, higher lows, it's kind of hard to trust both the MACD as well as the Ichimoku cloud. So in that sense, what we have to rely on is other factors, and that's typically just what we've seen here so far. And in the overall sense of things, it does still feel like Bitcoin wants to trend lower based on traditional markets probably going down for the next 24 hours. If that were to be the case, then we should expect the price to break down a little bit lower, essentially establish 20,500 as a resistance level, okay? But again, it's a little too early to tell, it's a little premature. We don't have confirmation yet. And this is what I was referring to as well when I was talking to one of my community members about how to take a good trade. Well, a lot of it is confirmation. Again, you're never going to get full-on confirmation. And what I mean by that is just, confirmation to me is just things that are adding up to essentially give you a somewhat of a definitive direction. And we don't have this. It's kind of waffling up and down in this little range, and until it breaks either bullish or bearish, there's no reason to want to take a trade, because again, good traders align themselves with the industry leaders that are controlling the market. So if, Joe Schmo out there that controls, 500 Bitcoin per trade, when they decide they want the price to go up or down, that's when you decide to go in. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's like after they set the trend, then you follow it, okay? You don't try to get ahead of it. That's buying the dip, and those are problematic situations where you're kind of hoping and you're praying that it's going to work, when in truth, that's not the way to trade, okay? So again, we don't have confirmation here. I don't feel comfortable taking a trade just right now at this point. It's all speculation to me, and until we have that confirmation, I would say after the FOMC meeting tomorrow or Thursday, we should be in much better shape by then, okay? That's what I'm hoping for. That's where we're at. So all in all, that's essentially the bottom line, and I'm going to stick with that for now. So we'll look forward to seeing you all in the next video tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me here. Again, if you want to become a better trader, definitely use Bitget exchange. Phenomenal exchange. If you are in the United States, keep in mind you use my link. Make sure you select other for the country, just so you can go ahead and get through there with the without a VPN. And then of course, if you want to become part of the signals and just say an amazing trading community, go ahead and check this out. CryptoCache.tech, link in the description below. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We look forward to seeing the next one. Thanks again for your time. Take care.